And speaking of illegal immigration, suddenly there are Democrats pretending to care about the border. Now, 8 of them have been warning Biden about repealing Title 42. Remember, that's the Trump-era policy that allowed for immediate turnbacks of illegals at the border because of COVID. Now, this list of senators includes 4 who are up for re-election this fall, wouldn't you know it, in hotly contested races. Now, none of them, until recently, none of them were strong advocates for border security, none of them, of course, were against Biden's handling of it. I'm talking about Arizona's Mark Kelly, New Hampshire's Maggie Hassan, Georgia's Raphael Warnock, and Nevada's Catherine Cortez Masto, all of them disasters on the border. So just don't be fooled by any of this. If they end up getting reelected, they'd be more than happy to continue the destructive policies that Biden has been pushing on this country that allowed 2 million illegals to pour across our southern border since he took office. Which leads me to what I have been saying for months. Biden and his DHS secretary should be impeached for the crime of conspiring to keep the southern border open during a national health emergency. The House could actually bring up a serious, perhaps, impeachment inquiry just on this issue of the border alone. They impeached a president for Russia collusion.
Yeah.
Why isn't this border collusion at some point? When the president conspires to subvert the sovereignty of his own country, how could that not be grounds for impeachment? Now, as you can see, that's what I've contended for some time now. So I was so pleased to see the argument built out by Charlie Hurt in the Washington Times, writing, he's aided and comforted our foreign enemies by publicly inviting illegals to swarm into the country. He has purposefully undermined the Constitution he swore to uphold and defend. It's just that simple. Charlie Hurt, Washington Times opinion editor and Fox News contributor, joins me now. Charlie, now you go on to say that President Biden isn't finished and that only strengthens the argument to start threatening this now. Explain that.
Yeah, well, with the decision by the administration to lift this Title 42, you talk to Border Patrol agents, and they will tell you that they're expecting a surge at the border this summer that could top 250,000 illegals each month, which would be obviously a historic invasion at the border. But I think the biggest reason why it's so important for Republicans to begin talking about this now is they should talk about it before the election. They should make the election about this issue so that when they win in November, they will have a greater mandate, an important mandate.
I mean, American lives are at stake. Human carnage, fentanyl, drug overdoses by the tens of thousands. I mean, we have our own scenes of desperation in this country because a president and commander-in-chief refuses to do what he is constitutionally obligated to. And you hit the nail on the head in this piece. Now, Charlie, I got to say, here's how the administration responded when Peter Doocy exposed how bad the crisis is going to be. Watch.
The department gave reporters an estimate that up to 18,000 migrants could be apprehended at the border each day if Title 42 were repealed.
Up to, and we'll see what happens. And obviously, we're taking steps to convey that this is not the time to come.
Charlie, surely the migrants will respect Jen Psaki telling them that now's not a great time to come. I'm sure that'll make them turn around en masse.
Right. And what's even more absurd about this is the fact that she could say that if she wants. But the truth is, and you've reported this all along, migrants south of the border, they're watching the news. They know that President Biden has turned on a welcome light to draw all of them to the country. And they are even aware of this issue with Title 42. They are poised to come into this country, and they know that they will get away with it, and they know that they will be welcomed. But this is the thing, and you've understood this forever. I know this. This is an issue that is not just a Republican issue. This is an issue that matters to Republican voters, but also to Democrat voters. And as Donald Trump proved to politicians in Washington, it also matters to Hispanic voters, for example, who want to have a secure border. Everybody wants to have a secure border. It's not a controversial issue.
Now, Charlie, the DEA is warning local police about another crisis spurred by the border, saying in just the past 2 months, there have been at least 7 confirmed mass overdose events across the United States, resulting in 58 overdoses, 29 overdose deaths. Tragic events like these are being driven by fentanyl. And the fentanyl, Charlie, as you've written about, is coming from China through south of the border into the veins and into the bodies of people across this country, many of them desperate, whether they're out of work or mental health or a combination, or they just get their drugs spiked. And it's mass carnage. I'm just going to keep saying it.
Yeah. And, you know, if you talk to regular people around the country, I don't know anyone who doesn't know someone who has been affected by this this poison that is pouring into our country. That you either people in their own family or people that they know have been poisoned by this stuff. And if this was a smokestack that was billowing this kind of poison that was killing this a number of people, and especially young people in this country, there would be a hue and cry. It would be a problem that would be fixed instantly.
Charlie, thank you for this piece. Thank you for writing this, and we'll have you back on this soon. Thank you.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.